Ladies and gentlemen,
who was with us, an impresario extraordinary.
Is mighty, both by way of financial means as well as by way of raising our souls, raising our confidence, and raising our pride as Africans. The most important part of this is the aspect of storytelling and ownership of who we are and how we tell and explain and introduce who we are. It is thanks to the cultural and creative industries of Nigeria and Africa that the continent has repositioned itself globally. And these are ideas and concepts that really must be considered as we restructure Nigeria. We will begin with music and move to film and broadcasting. Each discussion leader will present themselves. They will introduce their works. They will go into challenges faced, and then they will end on the opportunities that are available between the creative and cultural sectors and our governmental spaces. Please begin.
Okay, I'm a bit of a creative industry advocate. I do a lot of copyright protection advocacy work. I worked in this space for 25 years, professionally, and in the course of my journey in the music business, I have had the opportunity to support and provide business solutions for talents like Sonny Neji, Daniel Wilson, Tunde Omiobe, Raw, Two-Face Adibia, aka Tubaba, Timi, Dakolo, Shei, Rugged Man, a lot of talents. While working with talent, I've also engaged with industry institutions and engaged with national institutions. I would make a passionate appeal. I think there's one basic problem with Nigeria, and it's the balancing of politics and governance. So today we appear to be having a conversation that is leaning towards governance. If tomorrow His Excellency becomes president, the conversations will lean more towards, likely to lean more towards politics than governance. And in a lot of these conversations, you'll be hard pressed to find the opportunity to engage with the right people who can make the right things happen. I've been in this space, as I said, for a while. And the key challenges that we've dealt with. When I got into the space, the major challenge was piracy, physical piracy. Alaba had us, by the throat. Government intervention was minimal, if almost non-existent. Afterwards, we dealt with the issue of collective management. We battled that. As we speak, the issues are still unresolved. You'll be surprised to find out that there's less than 10% compliance as far as royalty payments is concerned for the use of music in Nigeria today. There's less than 10% compliance. And that's from broadcasting to public performance, venues, hotels, restaurants, and the like. So the question you ask yourself is, why is it that these things work everywhere else, but they do not work in Nigeria? And it's down to negative, retrogressive politics. The people who have the power, for some reason, they have this detachment from, first and foremost, what the active industry is about, the potential that the industry has to empower Nigerians, to engage young people, to employ them gainfully, the potential that the industry has to position Nigeria and unlock the soft power that first and foremost you need to identify your national soul, a national identity, I do not think that Nigeria is a landmass. I do not think that Nigeria is fundamentally about the people, the tribes, and the religions. I think every nation is fundamentally an idea, a notion that people key into and they believe in. And that triggers the kind of patriotism that you need to grow a country, to grow a people. Over the years, is that 3 minutes already?
Well, yes.
Of Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, Adamawa State Chapter.
It's one of the fundamental qualities of my university, where I say this everywhere I go to, and I'm proud to be an alum of the American University of Nigeria, is that the school teaches you to be very independent in your thinking, except you didn't come to school to study. But the primary thing you're going to learn beyond your area of concentration is the elective courses that you take.
The liberal arts education that is offered by the university is something that you don't find in many Nigerian universities. The exposure, the opportunities AUM provides for her students, that's something I don't see in other universities. All the competitions you're allowed to go for, the seminars, the workshops, even within AUM itself, before you even go outside, things like Emerging Leaders Academy, the Feed and Read program, all this exposes students to a whole new perspective and gives you a real-life outlook of things before you even get to the real life.
In everything you do, class university in West Africa, where people become leaders of Africa.
Music events and like award ceremony, rewarding the talent after each year. Do not go past the first 5-6 years. It's because it's difficult. We do not have the right enabling environment and to make some of these things happen. So they stop. And when we go abroad, we are welcome with open hands. We get beyond what we want. Before Chairman invited me here, I was on my way to the airport, actually going to Abidjan for Creative Industry Nexus. She actually literally onboarded me, and she said I had to be here, and I showed her everything. I canceled to be here. But the truth is, the last time I sat with people like you, in all honesty, was 4 years ago, just before the presidential election. And after that, nothing happened. And so coming here, I wasn't excited because we just talk, and after the election, we don't get to reach you, no phones are picked, then it becomes more difficult. But Chairman said, you know what, this isn't going to be like that this time around. At least talk, let them know what the problem is and what we can fix. That is one. We do not have the right enabling environment to make so many things happen. It's difficult, especially when you want to do something really major. And I can go on and on, but I know that we do not have enough time. There are other people here, and I'll keep it at that. And I'm so excited that this is happening, and I hope that it won't be the last time that we'll have this kind of forum and we'll make things happen on a in a big way. Thank you very much for having me. God bless you.
Endowment Fund for Arts, because even in America, where you have Hollywood, there's still the National Endowment Fund for Arts, where people who make a different kind of art can actually have access. And it's not everyone that has the same opportunity.
Today is that we need that help, because everybody refers to us first. The information you need, we have it, and we need to upscale ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've been in the public space for a long time.
Yes.
That I will sit with politicians. I don't attend as a rule. Chioma spoke. Roseanne was on the phone with me for Rosanna for a while. Chioma, and when she said, I was like, we're just going to talk. Nothing will happen. I hosted a talk show on Nigerian television for about 21 years on over 30 stations. Today, I own a TV channel, a radio station. My governor is here, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. I've never met him. I've never tried to. That's the truth. We learn to do our thing because we find we don't get support. That is the truth. We get tired. It's exhausting. When I started the radio station, just a bit of a story, my governor is here, I was very excited. There was no privately owned radio station in Asaba, and at 8 p.m., it was dead quiet. I couldn't believe that because I was coming from Lagos. And so I applied for a license for Delta. I learned very expensive lessons that starting from the community telling me I have to employ them whether they are qualified or not, to electricity and being my own government and having to put a transformer, to doing the roads, to expenses that I never thought of, I encountered. It was a huge challenge. I came with a big dream that started going down very quickly. And I understood why stations did not stay on. If I say my advert rate as compared to what my colleagues in Lagos charge, it is laughable, but my costs are even higher. So you want to do so much. You have, in the creative space, you have a lot of ideas. It's the same thing with TV. Nigeria was supposed to go digital in 2015, I think. This is the year 2022. A lot of money invested in millions, in pounds. We don't produce anything, everything from abroad. And we're not even close to it. It has become a white elephant project where a lot of people have sunk in money as individuals and they're not able to recoup it. We're giving out decoders that cannot even get outside the broadcast area where it is transmitting from. There are a lot of challenges. We need to go digital because when we go digital, we create a level playing field. More people can come in. Programs can be produced. We can then start to talk about advertising. Right now is a mini, mo. You go and beg. It is not based on any data. It is a case of who you know and how long you've been in the business. So there's a lot that government needs to do in the broadcast. And Kenneth was talking about co-productions. Do you know the amount of countries in the past 1 year who have approached us? The first question they ask is, what do we get back? First question. They find it ridiculous that government doesn't offer any incentives to bring people to come and spend money here. We're the only ones, as huge as we are. And so everything that should come to us is going to South Africa. They are carrying even our actors from here to go and act in South Africa for Nigerian stories. It's now happening. They're using Kenya, Rwanda. Those ones are getting their wives. They are getting treaties. And we're still sleeping. Government, we need a government that is going to be proactive. The entertainment industry is a gold mine. It is waiting to be tapped. And we just need the right people who understand. Let me commend this initiative because I didn't think it was going to be like this. My other prayer is that I hope that after all this talk, like Ayo has pointed out, yes, we still get the phones being answered. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. The most senior, and then quite a number of them at the back. With just about 10, 20 people here, they must have made over thousands of films in Nigeria, and they've been working for over 30 years. So we're all here because of the invite to listen to you. Because I want to be brief, let me say what I want to say last. Let me say it first so that you don't cut me off. Your Excellency, sir, let your team take note of three very important documents. One, the cultural policy of Nigeria. I have read the cultural policy from back to back. It's amazing. The film policy of Nigeria, I have read it from back to back. It's amazing. But unfortunately, no government, in truth, has actually tried to pay enough attention on those documents. They were very, very well articulated. My colleagues and I, at some point, also did a major document that will be very useful for any Nigerian leader who is interested in the proper and true emergence of the creative sector in Nigeria. It is the National Endowment for the Arts. It was first originated by, at the time, the director of CBAC, Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization. But it's a major document. I can find it and send to some of your reps. Now, for me, this is probably the first time in my life that I'm seeing His Excellency Atiku Abubakar with my eyes. And I've been practicing in this country for over 30 years. And see this highly distinguished men, I know them because I see them on TV. His Excellency Lieli Mokwe, Dr. Saraki, and my own state governor, Dr. Koa, Ndudi Lumelu, we know, Governor Tambuwal, and the chairman of PDP. So for me, and I believe a number of my colleagues, it's important, it's nice enough that you even want to hear and see people in the creative sector. Yes, so thank you for that. We should now go further, not only by listening to them now.
Absolutely.
So God helps and you win. Let it not be that you only now want to listen to them again after 4 years. That's the experience that we have had for a long time in the space, except for the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who actually committed, yes. Yeah? Yes. He was very, very committed to not only saying about support, he actually physically supported production, he supported distribution, he supported training and particularly capacity building. I, as an individual, I've received funding to make films from the French government, from the German government. You know, I've never received, well, support of Jonathan I've received. So the summary of what I say, Your Excellency, is that read, let your people get that document to you. I can find and send to you. It's important. Otherwise, all the problems that anybody will talk about here, it's there, it's sorted there. So we have to look for it and support a true emergence of the creative sector in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In the visual arts, and the focus has been how do we provide infrastructure and how do we provide training and how do we create indigenous platforms that look at indigenous artistic production. And our focus has been really about gathering the research and understanding what is needed in the creative industry. And what we've realized over the last 10 years is what people want is opportunities, infrastructure, and also what the wider space needs is a quality of work and production. And we've done that on a number of ways. For instance, we were talking with the Brazilian community of Lagos Island and how they could sort of empower their youth. And through that investigation, we developed a street art festival called Tiwantiwa that looked at how do you sort of take this powerful history that also is tied into tourism, architecture, and how do you sort of empower the local community through art. And in developing that and having thousands and thousands of people come through over a few years, we now identified the printing press, which is a federal government-owned infrastructure, and looked with the help of the German government, because we couldn't find any support locally. We developed a paper on how to turn that into a creative hub that would really empower the local community. The big challenge in that, even though we found funding to acquire the premises, was the unwillingness of the federal government to release that. Following that, we now did a series of master plans in how to develop areas around Lagos Island into a creative hub using abandoned or underused infrastructure. And over the years, we've been thinking about how to build out infrastructure that can be used by the creative industry. And in our own part, we've developed over a number of years a number of art galleries, artistic residency spaces, and photography studios. And the whole point of these spaces is to allow new, young voices, primarily coming out of university that aren't able to have access to maybe establishment, but are extremely talented, and give them free space to sort of develop their craft. And what we do and what we facilitate is to think about how to help them find resources, find money, but also guide them in the artistic production. And a lot of people that have come through that in recent years have won massive international awards. We have artists that in the last 3 years went from selling work at $200K to now 15, 20,000 US dollars. And these are 20-something-year-old kids. So the opportunity is there. And I think what people don't realize is the massive amount of jobs that the creative industry can create, and the ability to sort of think about it from a point of view of replica models, because there's so many cities in Nigeria. It's not a Lagos thing. Creativity is not a Lagos thing. It's not an Abuja thing. It's a way to create infrastructure and a model that can be transmitted throughout Nigeria and really empower Nigerians. So what is crucial for any government is to give the support to allow this sort of replication. Thank you.
I want to speak a little bit on arts, on visual arts, and what I would say are some of the successes. Notably, sir, I think when we came and saw you a few months ago on this subject, I believe that what I said at the time was that the creative industry is Nigeria's largest export, more so than anything that we produce. The only redeeming quality in many ways for Nigeria, when they think of Nigeria outside of the terrorism issues, the insecurity issues, it's the creative industry. That's the only redeeming quality that many people see when they think about our country. It is a soft power for exports. Now, unfortunately, I think because many of my colleagues here have spoken, one of the issues, I think the resonating issue, is that most of these industries were built almost entirely on their own. They're self-financed, self-funded, self-initiated, with very little to no government support. In many ways, the regulation and the policies are actually detrimental to the industry. We have to find ways around it on a constant basis. Now, as to visual arts is important not just as a means of, as a hobby, but it's important for heritage preservation. We have very little in this country in ways of cultural institutions, non-profit spaces, museums, public art. And when you go to some of these places, I'm sure many of you have holidayed in Europe, you go to Rome, you go to Paris, you go and you see the history of those nations everywhere, because there's an intentionality to their efforts, and it's not just through individuals providing art as a means to play, but the government also understands that in culture you also preserve history and you project who you are to the world. And so we don't have any policy, in my opinion, that has been implemented that has that intentionality. Funding is also a problem. I'm very happy that we talked about the National Arts Commission and endowment, but also, as you think also about your policy framework that you're developing, sir, I would very much like for you to incorporate the idea of also private financing and how people can access credit schemes through banks, through loans, because the federal government can't do everything. So all of this needs to be something that can be tailored to individuals and also have a deliberate policy for public art and institutions, museums. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. My mic, oh, perfect. Thank you very much, Dolly. That was very insightful, and it's been a pleasure working with you on this as well.
I'll be there.
A little entertainment you can see. I didn't even know that Timi was also a musician. How many talents do you have,
Not so. I remember we signed an agreement of what you wanted the EP government to do for you. The PDP was voted into power, but unfortunately, you did not vote for PDP. You went and voted for APC. So there was or there is a breach of contract between us. Now I think it's time to review our relationship and then sign a new contract. I am listening with rapt attention, to various presentations made by, members or representatives of this industry. It's a vast industry, very vast. That is why you are only second to agriculture as far as the economy of this country is concerned. We have it on record that you are the second largest producer of movies as well. In all aspects of your industry, it's either you are first or you are second. Me inclusive, because I have a radio station, I have a television station. So I know what I have gone through. I know how much money that I made elsewhere and invested in it, and the losses I'm still making. When this lady was talking, you from Delta, I just imagine myself in her position. I face the same challenges: road, water, electricity, this and that, everything. I supplied just to inform and entertain the community, the local community. So I want you to regard me as one of you. Of course, the first government to set aside any amount of money for the advancement, development and advancement of this industry is the PDP government. Yes, we have, or you had challenges assessing, the funding. What we need to do is increase the funding, liberalize the funding process, make it easier. I totally reject direct CBN intervention. We have various agencies of government, either as banks or agencies of government that are responsible for all this. We should be able to make it easier to access these funds through those agencies. That is to say, diversify the access to the funding that is provided by government And then, of course, encourage, the private sector to be also part of this venture capital. Because government alone, like one of you said, cannot provide all the funding that is needed to develop this prosperous industry in terms of wealth creation, in terms of employment opportunities, particularly to our young men and women. So for me, this is a very vital, essentially a live wire for our economy, a sector that provides the second, income and employment opportunities is not a sector that we should toy with. So for me, if you give me the opportunity, whether you make me write agreement or you don't, I will do it. But it is essential we work together, identify where are we going to have, or where do we have the challenges today, and how do we remove those challenges, these roadblocks. Let me also commend the presentations that have been made today here. They were completely different from the presentations made to me 3-4 years ago. I was ready to stay longer than planned or expected, just to listen to the various presentations, very brilliant presentations. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited and I look forward to a very, very close collaboration with you on how we can develop this sector and exploit the potentials in this sector. It's a multifaceted sector which can produce multi-billion income, and that can create millions of jobs which our young men and women are yearning for today. So, whether you want us to go again by way of agreement or by way of any other way of understanding, I stand available. So, but I must commend your patriotic zeal in spite of all the obstacles that are clearly in your way in achieving, your objectives.
Please, another round of applause to Atiku Abubakar. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And because of the appreciation of the creative industry, I think you've heard now that I'm a member of the Actors Guild of Nigeria. Please, friend Amata, where are you? The next movie you are going to shoot, we will find a role for Atiku Abubakar. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to bring this to a close. I want to ask that gentleman, who is going to be a reliable vice president to our principal, to give a closing remarks, and on behalf of our principal and all his delegation, say thank you. Soft speaking, Unifying, Dakolo.
Your Excellency, my boss, Alhaji the presidential candidate of PDP, Atiku Abubakar, my party chairman, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I must truly thank the leaders of the creative industry here gathered today for this very, very enriching meeting that we've had this evening. And then Cabinet Timi, Dakolo, I think it was just the best that could ever be presented today. All these folks spoke with great passion for this nation, great passion for the industry of the truth. I think you have schooled us, you've given us enough information. And there'll be a lot of guilt in our hearts if we don't fulfill the promises that my and the next president of this country is a man of his words. He is somebody Nigeria can trust. When Timi Dakolo sang, he talked about us believing in our nation. That exactly is what I found in each and every one of you that spoke. The passion not just to succeed for your businesses, but the passion to grow jobs and the passion to make things work in Nigeria. And that truly is very, very good for our nation. We will defend our land, he said. That exactly is what you're doing. Despite the challenges, a lot of you could have checked out. Somebody would have said Jakba, but you decided to stay back to build this nation. We have an opportunity in an Atiku Abubakar presidency to do just that. We need to work together. The policies you talked about that have been thrown aside, the cultural policy, the film policy, I'm sure that it will be properly articulated. This time, articulated, not the English word. And I believe what he has said to you, because he's a man of his words. There will be a new Nigeria, but that new Nigeria is a Nigeria in which all of us can truly work together to defend our land, to truly talk about our Nigeria with pride. And a Nigeria in which the presidency will to be able to build Nigeria together. That is the Nigeria of our dream. And I believe it is time for us to remind ourselves. It's unfortunate so many things have happened in the past. Then a man grows old and sees things going on. And at the point in time, he's beginning to wonder, am I going to leave this world, see this country this way? That's why he's still offering himself. Otherwise, at this point in time, possibly he would have just sat back. I've made it all. That there's that inner feeling for this country. And I believe that that is the driving process in him. And I believe that working together, truly working together, we can make Nigeria work again. He has made his promises, I believe in. And I think it's time for Nigerians to realize that there's one person they can trust. Because he needs to just make that map, create and rebuild the foundation, and then we can continue to build on it as a people, as a nation. So we truly thank you tonight. We are ready to learn also. I'm very sorry about the issues that you had in Delta that made you say, oh, you come here to government. But I know that a few years ago, about 3 years ago, there's been some persons came to me from the filmmaking industry and did request because they were coming to Asaba regularly to shoot their films, that they needed us to build a film village. That film village will be ready by this December. And will be commissioned by presidential candidates. And I'm going to insist that those who practice in the industry would actually take charge of running that place. Because we do know that if we run it as a government, it will not work. And I have already made that commitment. So there's room for partnership. There have been frustrations in the past. But I think that together we can rekindle hope. And that's exactly what you have done tonight. You have made us realize that there is still hope within so many aspects of the economy in this country, and that together we can work. And I believe that work, we should be ready for it together. But before then, we have to go out there to convince Nigerians to truly come out and cast their vote right now. Cast their vote right now. I always say Nigeria is so challenged that it is not for babies. Nigeria is so challenged that we need somebody with a lot of experience. But beyond experience, somebody who is humble enough to sit with you and understand you, talk with you, and work with you. And that you is all of us. And those who may not be present at this very event. We can together build and rebuild Nigeria. And we can all, as we begin to age, look back and say, we are living a much better Nigeria for the young ones and for those of them. Thank you so much for your contributions.
Please, another round of applause to this very amazing man. And as he just announced the fifth village, an angel that was passing by whispered to my ears, said, Dino Melaya from December, you'll be NBC or Delta State Village. And I want to assure you, you will all be invited for the commission. Everybody will be invited for the commission. Without wasting much of our time.
We are the panelists, not the panelists. Can you please rise to the party? Where are the panelists? Please come. All the panelists, Hollywood.
Yes, sir. So, well done.